Well, the last few videos I've done have been on the Thunderbolt. And this is where it's at right now. It's time to set it aside and get back to my other projects. I Z-epoxied the fuselage and I put the fillets in it, top and bottom. It's basically ready to start sanding out. I did sand a little bit on the fillets to see if I did a good job on this. So we're going to set this aside and get to work on the Continental, plastic Continental. In the past, I have broken down a model airplane into 4 components, and we already have the major component pretty much underway. I'm waiting on getting a bell crank for it, and then we can finish the wing up. So today I figured I'd lay out the fuselage and see what we can come up with. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to pick out your materials, and you're going to need a datum line. So I take my piece of wood and we're going to cut a top line. This is the line that everything's measured from and that holds the airplane straight. So that's a pretty important line. That's a thrust line, wing line, incidence line, and that's we did a pretty good job cutting that. I'll take the long sanding block and just kind of whisk off any of the imperfections that it might have. And we'll do that with another one. Now, I've got quite a bit of 1/8" wood here. You want to pick out wood that's pretty straight grained so that things don't warp when you relieve the wood. So we'll do another datum line here. You can hear Wendy running in the background. I don't know. I listen to Wendy, I listen to Hunt. These are builders that anyone could aspire to be as good as. They're phenomenal craftsmen. Billy. One could only wish to have a record as good as Billy. Okay, now we'll put the two together. I'm going to put a drop of CA on each end, because we're going to cut these all together. We can separate them pretty easy because it's only a drop. Yeah, it moved. Not only will this be faster, it will be more accurate. The two sides will be the same because they were cut at the same time. Your eyes are, if you can see, your eyes are pretty telling. So I'm going to put an arrow on the wood showing the top side on the front and back. There we go. So the next thing is we're going to want to square this up. Now you want to make sure you're square from the datum line. And I just take a square and a sanding block with some 80 grit on it. And we're going to sand to the square. So that gives us 90 degrees perfectly. And we're going to do the same thing on the nose post, on where the nose ring goes. Now it's quite a bit different. We'll go ahead and sand it. It's not a big deal. It'll only take a moment. Yeah, got to make sure you sand from the datum side, not from the broken side, from the warp side. So, I've got wood ordered for the top and bottom block. I can't do the top and bottom block today, but we can lay the fuselage out. Okay, so we're going to go to here and I want to measure the dimensions so we got the 9 3/4. I want to measure the dimensions on my airplane to make sure they're the same. See, there was, on this Continental, I have the magazine, there was several airplanes designed, and Tom had, or someone had just chopped the nose off of this and changed the moments on it. So I like to make my airplanes as close to the originals as possible. So we're going to make a mark there. That's for the leading edge of the wing. What happened to the square? Oh, it fell on the ground. So this is firewall 1. Or F2, I should say. This is F1 here. I don't know. This is more or less like second nature to me. It's such a hard thing to explain. You kind of just have to watch. Now the problem with cutting them both at the same time on the front is that there's a step that needs to be done in order to keep the exhaust port right. So you can't cut the nose at the same time, but you can cut the openings. So we're going to make a mark there, and a mark there, and mark here. So if I cut both pieces, that's how we'll do it. Never thought of it, but I just figured it out. 2.5. So 2. Two and a half. Made a mistake already. 2.5. This line here. So I hope you're understanding my thoughts on the layout. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. Boy, it don't look right. Better measure. Measure twice, cut once. 1.5 inches. It is right. Okay, so the tail post here. Well, that's it. Let's carve it up. We'll cut the pieces today. I'll do the layout. I'll work on my Thunderbolt a little bit. I guess I probably could post a video. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm cutting 2 muffler sides, and then I will remove this tang on the one that's not needed. So that was a pretty good catch. Okay, so we have 2 fuselage sides here that are exactly the same. Throw this out. Plywood fuselage joint. I've been splitting my fuselages in one spot. The old way was to slice it here and slice it here and slide the wing in. But the way that I really like is just at the high point of the wing, make a slit, of course angled, lay the nose on the bench, and then put the wing in, and then slide the back half on and tack it. It's worked perfect. So, now let's true these up. I'm pretty sure they're fine as is, but the reason why I normally use 3/32 for fuselage size, but the Continental is a very shapely fuselage if done right. It's very round, and you need that extra 1/8 inch to shape it. And then of course you have to sand the inside out at the tail to lighten it up. Okay, so now let's lay out the wing. Now the wing is a little bit more difficult because I changed let's see here. Within a pen line, make sure that so this is the airfoil that I used. This is going to be hard to calculate, but we'll give it a whirl. My exact dimension for root is 11. The exact dimension here is 11. So we have an 11-inch root. So we're going to cut it. We have an 11-inch root. We're going to cut it 10 and 15/16. And I'm going to measure the dimension of the thickness. We want to make it so I have to sand it. We don't want to, I don't want it sloppy. It's 2 inches. Going to be 2 1/8 inches because there's a 1/16 on each side, but we'll make it 2 inches so that I can sand a 1/16 on each side. Let's see what the dimension is here, make sure that I did it right. It's 2 1/8, so that's correct. So 2 inches. I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it does to me. And our line is 1 1/4 inches off thrust, or off the datum line, 1 1/4 inches. 1 1/4 inches. And then we're going to come back 11 inches, 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to draw a center line. Now, if you remember, I used the Millennial wing or whatever, and it has a 1/4 inch leading edge. So we're going to mark 1/4, and it has a 1/4 inch trailing edge. You'll notice I'm doing this by eye. You know, this is not a Swiss watch. But let's see how close I am. There's my 1/4 inch that I measured. And there's a 1/4 inch on the measuring device. And I got a good eye. Same with back there. Now, I need to measure the width . The width of the trailing edge. So it's going to be a little less, so it's a 1/2 inch. It's going to be a 1/2 inch. And the nose is going to be a 1/2 inch. So 1/4. And remember, we want to cut it small, so I have to sand it. I don't you can't add. Quarter. Quarter. If at any time things don't make sense, all you have to do is ask in the description box, as so many have. There you have it. Of course, this comes back. I've been thinking about the gas station there at the Nats where you get the ice cream. I also been thinking about there's a candy store off in another town I've been thinking about. And I really missed the hobby shop there. Okay. We're measuring twice, cutting once. That should do it. We'll cut to the inside of the line, leave the line on. That way there's some sanding room. Do you guys want me to edit the tapes up so there's no, you're not watching me do the whole thing? I mean, I don't know. I want to thank you for everybody for subscribing. I still have yet to get 30 likes. I do not know what happens at 30 likes. It seems like the same 15 people are liking over and over again. Please like, subscribe, share. I really want to see what happens when you hit 30 likes. I've been watching a channel, Don Rice. He's a scale modeler and he builds giant scale RC airplanes. If you look at my channel, he's a featured channel on mine. And he basically does what I do. I mean, it's so very hard to teach this on the computer. But, you know, he's letting you know what he's doing. And I just like having the other builders in my shop, like we're listening to Wendy in the background here. I haven't even seen what Wendy's doing. I'm just listening to his voice. Yeah, see, he's doing the same thing I'm doing. Finishing. It sounds like he's doing a Z-epoxy finish. Oh, he's fiberglassing. He's not doing what I did, but it doesn't matter. This will be the last step. As soon as this is ready, we're going to start doping. Just sand it out next day or so. All right. So now, It's a little rough on the nose here. We'll take the sandpaper and clean it up. I then need to figure out which is the inboard and which is the outboard side, because we're going to cut off the tang. And make some doublers. Now the wing is going to fit in this extremely tight. We're going to have to sand this when we put it together, but tight is better than loose. If it's tight, one, you're going to have a better joint, and two, it's less weight because there's no filling. So we have that. This is Super Tiger 46. The engine is this way. Yeah, I might have screwed up here. Which is not a big deal. I can always add that piece. I just like to get it cut in one. You want to have the needle valve come out exactly right there, but that's not the case that's going to happen here. It doesn't matter. So we'll leave that until I make the motor mounts and put it together, and I'll have to figure that out. But as I've stated in past videos, there are no mistakes. If you don't like what you did, you just cut it off and glue a piece on and sand away. Okay, so now let's cut out a couple doublers, or at least get them marked up here. This is 32nd plywood. You can use, there's several ways to do the nose of any airplane. In the time period that this was built, we used 16th doublers. I think it's too much. I think the plans call for 16th. No, 1/32. Let's see here. 1/32 plywood fuselage. Yeah. So it is calling for 32nd. But we used to use 16th back in the day, or I did anyway. And it's too much. So 16th. You can use 64th, you can use balsa wood doublers with carbon laminate. There's a number of ways of doing this. It's not, there isn't anything set in stone like people like to tell you. Well, you gotta do it this way or it won't work. That's just not true. I can't get that off. Now, I'm not gonna waste my time working on it. see if that'll take it off. I gotta have it off. Never tried this before. I don't think it works. There's a company you don't see, or I don't see much of. Monogram. Revell and Monogram used to be two different companies. Now I guess they're the same. Well, it did loosen it up some. So the heat gun does work. It's just going to take a little bit of time here. I guess I could get out my industrial strength heat gun and burn the thing off. This is just a monocoat iron. Man, it's hot. There we go. So it does work. Well, if nothing else, I learned something today. I can get these stupid glue stickers off with a heat gun. Hey Art, Schaefer, if you're watching this, put this sticker on the other sticker. There's no need to have it on the wood. Okay. Alright, so we got that doubler done. We'll go ahead and trace them out. And we'll do the same with this. We'll make two of the exhaust sides. Nah, I guess not. I'll make one of each, because I don't know. Okay. I like the little pad here. That way I have two great big ones. But it's such a pain to drag those out and clear the bench. And so we'll just use the little one here. Now I'm using this scalpel, and there is a problem cutting plywood with the scalpel. The blades are not that stout, so we'll see how it works. So instead of running the video for hours on end, I'm just going to tell you, today is a day of cutting fuselage parts. The flat material, the top and bottom block, and bell crank are on their way. So basically, that's what we're doing. We're just making parts. I'm making a kit. And it does not take, if I spend all day on this, I could probably get it all together. But I'm not going to spend all day on it. I'm just going to cut up a few pieces. We'll work on the Thunderbolt a little bit. I'm going to need to pull out the paint jobs again, because it's getting to be decent weather out there and I still have to clear them. So we'll be doing that in the next, probably next week. So, any questions? Put them in the comment box, drop me a line, send me an email. You can contact me on Stunthanger. That's www.stunthanger.com. Use your real first and last name. It takes me about, no more than 24 hours to approve you. And if you're not using a valid email address and your real first and last name, hey, you won't get approved. No big deal. We have a couple giveaways going on Stunthanger. Make sure you get in on those. One's for an Agile Arrow, and the other one is for the Rogerio Forgati's timer. And it should be interesting on that. I'd like to see how that works. And if it works good, I might get one myself. No programming box needed. So enter those two drawings and giveaways. Hopefully, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we can, get some support from Tower Hobbies and Action Hobbies and some of the bigger hobby companies to give us some giveaways to give away on our site here, and we'll try their products and give you an honest appraisal of what I think, how they work. Am I the end-all answer to everything? No. But I've built a lot of airplanes, and everybody seems to like what I do, my work. So if you aspire to be a better builder, I probably can give you a hand at that. So like, subscribe, share, stay tuned to our channel, and until I see you again, fair winds, tight lines. See ya!